Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. They called our myths fairy tales. Then the Titans joined the war. The encounter, the Craig's warship dominance hung like a dark crescent against the blue-green curve of Harmony Colony. Commander Vexak stood on the observation deck, his 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the human settlement below. 3 weeks of bombardment had reduced most of the colony's structures to smoking ruins. Status report, Vexak demanded, not bothering to turn toward the subordinate who had just entered. The main settlement has been secured, Commander, Officer Rila reported, mandibles clicking with satisfaction. Resistance has been eliminated. Only the northern research facility remains. Vexak's leathery skin rippled with displeasure. And why hasn't it been taken yet? It's built into a mountain, heavily fortified, but intelligence suggests it contains valuable human military research. We've dispatched Strike Team Krell to infiltrate and secure any technology of value. He clicked his approval. Strike Team Krell was led by his most ruthless captain, a veteran of 17 colonial conquests. Tell Krell I want updates every 30 minutes. Yes, Commander. The officer departed. Vexak turned back to the viewport. Something about this colony bothered him. Human resistance had been fierce but brief, too brief, as if they'd been buying time for something. Captain Krell led his 12-soldier strike team through the blasted doors of the research facility. Their chitinous armor gleamed under the intermittent emergency lights still functioning in the complex. The air smelled of ozone, burnt circuitry, and the copper salt tang of human blood. Secure the main laboratories first, then the data centers, Krell ordered. The soldiers moved with practiced efficiency: locate, secure, extract. Humans were predictable prey. Captain, you should see this, Sub-Lieutenant Mech called. Krell moved to where Mech stood in the facility's main command center. Bodies of humans lay scattered, some partially burned by energy weapons, others crushed beneath fallen equipment. But what caught his attention was the wall display, images and text files still cycling on backup power. What am I looking at? Krell asked. Human military files, sir, personnel records of some kind. Krell stepped closer. The display showed humans with flesh-integrated armor, neural implants, weapons grafted to their arms. Project Phantom, Mech read. These are their elite warriors, supposedly. Pitiful, laughed Var, another soldier. Where are these elites now, dead like the rest? Krell frowned. He'd fought humans before and knew their tenacity. Search the records. Find out what this project was. As his soldiers ransacked the center, Krell discovered that the humans had been developing combat systems beyond anything the Kreks had seen, enhanced warriors operating under shadow protocols, with no oversight or restraint. They were working on something called Project Wraith, a stealth combat system integrated with these soldiers, Mech reported. Any operational units? Krell pressed. The files say the project was terminated 3 years ago, ethical concerns. Ethics, Krell muttered. Then where are the prototypes? Mech tapped the terminal. Power systems are drawing 10 times normal capacity. The facility's life support can't account for it. Krell grabbed the terminal operator's collar. What are you hiding here? A voice rasped from the shadows. A blood-soaked human, burn covering half his face, lifted his head. His eyes tracked the soldiers with chilling clarity. I tried to warn you, he said. Krell raised a weapon. Surprising, most of your kind are dead. Not dead enough, the human rasped. Project Wraith wasn't terminated. It was blacklisted. As if on cue, the facility's red emergency lights shifted to a cold, pulsing blue. A low resonance hummed through the walls. They're real, the human whispered. And they're hungry. Captain, we found something, crackled a comm from below. Static, then a wet tearing noise, followed by a scream. Fertile, gone, go check on them, Krell barked. Mech's voice trembled. The wraiths were in stasis, cryo-suspension. Designed to activate if the facility was ever breached. A blood-curdling scream erupted over the calm. Defensive positions. Krell shouted. When the lights flickered back, 3 soldiers had vanished without a trace. From ceiling and walls, figures in matte black armor detached like shadows. They moved with impossible speed, seizing Var by the throat and snapping his exoskeleton like twigs. Their helmets were featureless, save for a thin blue line where eyes might be. Shoot them. Krell screamed, but energy bolts dissipated across the armor like rain on stone. One wraith cocked its head, squeezed Var's neck, and he went limp. More wraiths emerged, 5, 7, then dozens. Battle cries of the Kreks died in their throats. The perimeter collapsed. Krell's remaining soldiers fell one by one. You dismissed us as myth, a metallic voice echoed. But we are what you made us. Krell spun to see the wounded human commander, Lieutenant Hayes, standing among the wraiths, face scarred, optical implants glowing blue. Glad to be of service, Hayes said. The nightmare has begun. As darkness claimed Krell's vision, he understood at last, some legends exist to be feared. 4 hours later, Commander Vexak paced the Dominance's bridge. No updates had come. Then, sensors detected unusual energy spikes at the human facility, plus organized movement in the surrounding forest. Prepare a bombardment pattern, I want those defenses ash. Suddenly, a transmission from Krell's code arrived. Vexak played it. A black-armored figure appeared on his screen. Behind it, the shattered command center of the research facility, littered with Kreks dead. The figure's voice crackled, your invasion ends here. We've activated every Wraith facility in human space. On the tactical display, dozens of small objects streaked toward the ship, soldiers propelled through space, evading Kreks batteries and latching onto the hull. Alarms screamed as breaches occurred at multiple points. Battle stations. Vexak roared, but it was too late. Wraiths poured into the Dominance, moving like living shadows. In seconds, the bridge crew lay dead or incapacitated. Vexak stood alone. Commander Vexak, the lead Wraith said, voice a synthetic overlay. It removed its helmet to reveal Commander Setsuko Chen's scarred face. Report to your Imperium what you awakened today. 3 days later, in the Kreks High Command Center, Captain Krell, now free, presented his report to the Imperial War Council. Footage showed wraiths on every human world, assassinating command posts and crippling fleets. How many are there? Demanded an exalted one. At least 2,000 created before official termination. And likely many more, waiting as legends in every conquered colony. Why reveal themselves now? Another council member asked. They waited for us to grow complacent, to dismiss them as myth. The council fell silent, staring at a galaxy map where human worlds blinked red under new Wraith incursions. What do they want? The Imperator finally asked. Everything we took from them, Krell answered. The Imperial War Council chamber remained silent for long moments, the flickering holomap of conquered worlds the only movement in the vast room. Exalted One Tarlis finally broke the stillness. We must mobilize every available fleet to contain these wraiths, he declared, rising from his throne. If they truly have sleeper cells on every world we hold, this will be a war of attrition across dozens of systems. A murmur rippled through the assembled lords and commanders. Grand Admiral Serix frowned at the projection. Our conventional forces are already stretched thin by frontier skirmishes. Diverting squadrons to hunt unseen targets will leave our core systems vulnerable. Krell cleared his throat, stepping forward. Exalted One, with respect, hunting them with fleets will be futile. The wraiths strike like shadows. We need new tactics, covert counterinsurgency, saboteurs trained in stealth and subterfuge, weapons capable of bypassing their energy-absorbing armor. Counselor Verex, a master of espionage, raised a slender hand. Captain Krell is correct. We must adapt. I propose assembling special detachments, Kreks Phantoms, to infiltrate known Wraith facilities and destroy their activation matrices before they awaken. Tarlis studied Krell's face. Very well. You will lead this new Phantom Division, Captain. But be warned, failure means the loss of every world we have claimed these past centuries. Krell bowed. I will not fail you, Exalted One. Outside the chamber, the first Phantoms were already being briefed. In hidden hangars beneath the capital, armories hummed with the sounds of weapon calibrations and hollow briefings. As the Wraiths sent transmissions of human defiance echoing through Krek space, a cold certainty settled over the Imperium. A new kind of war had begun, one fought in darkness, where myths and nightmares walked among them. Beneath the marble floors of the Krek's capital, Captain Krell stood before a holographic display of the first target system, Laconia, a temperate world whose sprawling forests had long concealed human outposts. Around him, 30 Krek's Phantoms, elite operatives handpicked for stealth and resolve, checked their exosuits and energy rifles. Team Alpha, Krell began, voice low but firm, your objective is the underground Wraith activation node beneath the old research bunker. Infiltrate, plant the pulse disruptor on their power core, and exfiltrate before the alarm triggers. You have 30 minutes before orbital sweepers begin scanning for heat signatures. Understood? A crisp chorus of mandible clicks answered. From hidden bays, the Phantoms boarded the sleek Shadow Shuttle Nightstalker, its hull textured with adaptive camouflage that matched the forest canopy. As the engines hummed, Krell allowed himself a moment of doubt, one misstep here, and the Wraiths would awaken in force. Then he steeled himself, legends exist to be confronted. The shuttle dropped through clouds just outside the abandoned bunker. Under cover of night, Team Alpha slipped through a service hatch and into a corridor lined with human-designed circuitry, now overlaid with Wraith bioconductors pulsing faintly blue. Sergeant Vark's scanners keyed on the power core 2 levels below. They moved like ghosts, silent, methodical, Phantoms living up to their name. At the core chamber, Vark set the disruptor's charge while Lieutenant Soren kept guard. Within seconds, the device's field collapsed the Wraith energy conduits in a surge of crackling light. The blue glow died. Then alarms tore through the bunker's speakers. Gunfire echoed as Wraith sentinels descended the stairwell with preternatural speed. Krell ordered the retreat. As they raced up the corridor, energy bolts singed the walls, and one Phantom fell. Krell scooped him up, tossing him over his shoulder as the exit's hatch sealed behind them. The Night Stalker lifted off just as the disruptor detonated in a silent pulse, rendering the entire underground complex inert. High above the planet, Krell watched the bunker's position on his comlink flicker out. Phase 1 complete, he reported. Wraith activation on Laconia is offline, for now. But in the distance, deep space monitors glowed with new transmissions. The Wraith network was already rerouting power to secondary nodes, spreading like a living web across human space. Krell knew the war would be long and dark, but for the first time, the Imperium had a glimmer of hope. News of Laconia's blackout reached the Krek's high command before dawn. Exalted One Tarlis summoned Captain Krell to the capital's strategy chamber, where holographic stars drifted over a circular table. You've given us hope, Tarlis said, voice measured. But the Wraiths adapt quickly. Reports show secondary nodes activating on Tithra, Veldunis, and Sargon IV. You'll lead simultaneous strikes on all 3. Krell inclined his head. My Phantoms are ready, Exalted One. We'll deploy via shadow shuttles at planetary dusk. Each team has pulse disruptors calibrated to the Wraith biocircuit frequencies. Across human space, Commander Setsuko-chan convened her Wraith Alpha Council in the subterranean halls of Earth's last hidden bastion. Illumined by the same cold blue glow that had felled the Dominants, she addressed the assembled strike teams. Phase 1 awakened our sleepers, she began, tone both proud and solemn. Now, Phase 2 binds the network. You know your orders, protect every activation core at all costs. Kreks will come for us in force. We must strike first, on their staging worlds, where they least expect it. In the forested shadows of Tithra, Phantom Team Beta prepared for insertion. Sergeant Vark checked his disruptor's charge. Lieutenant Soren plotted the approach under the moon's faint light. A moment later, the shuttle's hatch sealed, and they slipped silently toward the planet's unguarded research outpost. Moments before impact, the Wraith alarm blared, a betrayer in Team Beta's midst. Hidden among the phantoms, human guerrillas had learned Krek's tactics and fed every move back to Chen's network. Energy turrets pivoted, cutting off the path to the core chamber. Ambush! Vark shouted. Bullets of pure plasma sizzled against black-absorbing armor. The phantoms formed a tight circle, weapons raised, as wraith shadows flitted overhead. In that instant, Krell's voice crackled over encrypted comms. Abort mission. Exfiltrate immediately. As Team Beta fought their way back to the shuttle's emergency hatch, Krell realized the true scale of the war. Every strike he launched, every facility he silenced, only revealed deeper layers of human defiance. The Imperium's victories were bought in blood and shadows, but the war had only just begun. Deep space transmissions crackled as Team Beta's shuttle limped away from Tithra, its hull scorched by Wraith energy turrets. Captain Krell swore under his breath, then gave the order, regroup at secondary rendezvous, assess casualties, and prepare for Phase 3. Back on the Krek's capital, Exalted One Tarlus received the damage reports with grim resolve. They learn our tactics too quickly, he observed. We must innovate. He tapped the holomap. Prepare the Phantom Nova Protocol, simultaneous precision strikes on the Wraith Nexus hubs, Earth's hidden bastions themselves. Leave no activation core untouched. Across human space, Commander Setsuko Chen sensed the impending blow. They will come for the Nexus, she told her Alpha Council in the subterranean citadel. Then it falls to us to defend the heart of humanity's last refuge. Deploy every Wraith across the network, this is our. Her words were cut off as the cavern shook with distant detonations. The Krek's assault had begun. On the surface of the hidden Earth stronghold, the ground trembled as orbital bombardment from the Dominance and Allied cruisers reduced ancient test facilities to rubble. Wraith sentinels emerged from shadowed tunnels, engaging Krek's phantoms in brutal close-quarters combat. Energy blades clashed with vibro rifles, cries of rage echoed beneath the damaged sky. Krell led Phantom Team Omega through the shattered corridors toward the central activation vault. Side by side with his fiercest foes, now revealed in full human form, he fought through waves of Wraith Guardians. At the vault doors stood Commander Chen herself, pulse disruptor in hand. For a heartbeat, Captain and Commander stared through unyielding visors, weapons trained on each other. Stand down, Krell rasped, voice crackling through the translator. This ends now. Chen hesitated, then lowered her disruptor. It cannot continue, she replied. Our legends birthed this war on both sides. We risk nothing less than total annihilation. Behind them, the vault's power core glowed with unstable blue energy. Together, they initiated the Nova Protocol. Krell overrode the Krek's codes while Chen inserted the Wraith failsafes. The core shuddered, then collapsed in a silent pulse that rippled through every Wraith node still standing in human space. When the dust settled, the battered corridors lay empty of combatants. High above, the Dominion's fleet broke off its bombardment and slipped into silent orbit. On the ground, Captain Krell and Commander Chen emerged into the ruined atrium, weapons lowered but hands still trembling. You did what had to be done, Chen said quietly. Your Imperium showed restraint here, for now. Krell nodded. And you, Commander, reminded me why myth must be honored, not feared. In the days that followed, a fragile armistice took shape. Kreks and human envoys met under guarded neutrality, negotiating the first peace in a decade of slaughter. Both sides bore scars, on body, on soul, but also a shared understanding, that legends, once awakened, reshaped the fate of worlds. And so, as the twin suns of Harmony Colony rose over silent ruins, a new chapter began, one not of conquest or revenge, but of wary alliance. For myths, once true, can teach even the fiercest enemies that some stories are meant to unite rather than divide. Months passed as diplomats and military leaders from both the Krex Imperium and the Earth Alliance worked side by side to dismantle the last hidden Wraith facilities and repurpose their technologies for defensive research. Under the protective umbrella of the newly formed Coalition Council, teams of Krex engineers and human scientists collaborated to stabilize the remnants of the Wraith power cores, ensuring no stray activations could ever again trigger a galactic nightmare. Captain Krell found himself stationed on New Haven, one of the first liberated worlds, overseeing the decommissioning of dormant stasis chambers. He walked the corridors once haunted by shadows, now quiet save for the hum of repair drones. At his side, Commander Setsuko Chen, appointed coalition liaison, inspected the installation's engineering decks. They exchanged no formal speeches, lay the truest testament to what they'd built together, a fragile trust born from the ashes of mutual fear. On Harmony Colony, survivors of both Krex incursions and human resistance gathered for the first Coalition Festival, celebrating peace with lanterns set adrift on the great green-blue sea. Vexak, once commander of the Dominance, now served as ambassador, his 4 eyes reflecting the soft glow of floating lights. He and Rila moved among the crowds, exchanging bows with Chen and Krell, once enemies, now partners in rebuilding a shared future. In the grand halls of the Coalition Council, the Treaty of Unity was ratified. Exalted One Tarlis and Earth's President Liang signed their names side by side, sealing an accord that outlawed the creation of unsanctioned bioweapons and established joint defense forces against any who might seek to exploit old legends for new horrors. As the seals were affixed, a hush fell over the assembly, then thunderous applause. Epilogue. Years later, the story of the Wraiths passed into history, not as myth, but as a cautionary legend of hubris and redemption. Statues of Commander Hayes and Captain Krell stood flank to flank in the Coalition Plaza, their visages carved in serene determination. Children of both species learned in their schools that true strength lay not in the weapons they wielded, but in the alliances they forged. And somewhere beyond the rim of known space, silent observers recorded the peaceful coexistence of former foes. As new explorers prepared to chart uncharted systems, they carried with them the enduring lesson of Harmony Colony, that even the darkest legends can illuminate a path to unity, if only enemies dare to believe in something greater than war. Decades later, as the twin suns set over Harmony Colony, the children of both species, Krex and human, played among the ruins of the old research bunker, now preserved as the Unity archives. Holographic displays flickered among the trees, recounting the saga of Project Wraith, the Reckoning, and the Coalition's birth. Commander Setsuko Chen, now an elder stateswoman, and Captain Krell, revered as a pioneering diplomat, stood together on a raised platform before the new Coalition Academy. Before them, graduates in gray and blue uniforms received their diplomas, historians, engineers, peacekeepers, all sworn to uphold the Treaty of Unity. As each name was called, the crowd erupted into applause, echoing the first cheers heard at the inaugural Coalition Festival. Above them, a formation of joint Krex human starfighters flew in precise diamond formation, their contrails painting the sky in navy and silver. A new fleet, built with Wraith-inspired adaptive shielding, charted courses to worlds yet unvisited, ambassadors of peace where once only conquerors had dared to tread. As the ceremony closed, Chen placed a soft hand on Krell's armored shoulder. "We forged a future together," she said quietly. "May these children never know the darkness we overcame." Krell nodded, eyes bright beneath his visor's reflective dome. "Legends live on," he replied. "But now they guide us toward unity, not war." And so, beneath the light of Harmony's setting suns, the Coalition stood united, proof that even the most fearful myths can be rewritten by those courageous enough to believe in hope. Decades later, as the twin suns set over Harmony Colony, the children of both species, Krex and human, played among the ruins of the old research bunker, now preserved as the Unity archives. Holographic displays flickered among the trees, recounting the saga of Project Wraith, the Reckoning, and the Coalition's birth. Commander Setsuko Chen, now an elder stateswoman, and Captain Krell, revered as a pioneering diplomat, stood together on a raised platform before the new Coalition Academy. Before them, graduates in gray and blue uniforms received their diplomas, historians, engineers, peacekeepers, all sworn to uphold the Treaty of Unity.